Oh, we're here. Oh, good. Yeah. Sorry, I've had a busy day, man.
You've had a
As
busy
you,
day. Why?
there's stuff and things going on.
Stuff and
Yes.
things.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard for launch day of Train Sim World 2, a game that I have not got the name wrong in quite some time. But you can never be totally sure. I've got my microphone in full-on radio DJ style or something. Matthew, how's it going? How are you?
It's going well, actually. It's. I've been enjoying looking at some of the feedback, and spent a bit of time watching some Twitch streams this afternoons. It's been great, actually.
Now, I mean, we've got, there's the odd kink and teething thing that is that we're looking into. If you are experiencing any kind of problem at the moment, please do get in touch with us. The official forums are a good way to go. If you go to the tech reports section there and let us know if you're having any kind of a problem, it will be looked into, most definitely, most urgently, because we just want you to play it, right? So the last thing we want is for you to be experiencing any kind of a problem at all. Steam released what, 2 hours ago, 3 hours, 3 hours ago, 2 hours, 2 hours ago. I can count. So PC players are getting stuck in right now, and frankly, I reckon quite a few people in the chat are playing right now. So why don't you let us know which route you're currently playing? I'd love to see just a wall of people who are stuck in one route or another. Anyway, we'll get on with what we're getting on with. What are we doing first this evening, Matt? Because we're going to do a bit of everything, aren't we?
We're going to do a bit of everything, and we're going to play with the tools as well. So we're going to do a bit on the scenario planner and a bit on the livery editor, all three routes. It's just going to be a festival of all things Train Sim World 2. But tonight we're going to start off with a run from Queen's Park to Elephant and Castle. Not a full line run because we've got more to squeeze in for this evening.
Yeah.
But we're going to do the underground bit of the underground route. Felt like the right thing to do. So I'll get started.
I saw a report there of someone saying it keeps crashing on PS4. If you've been into the scenario planner on PS4, we're aware of something that could be causing some difficulty. Head over to the technical forum. There may be some help for you, but if nothing else, we can then follow up and make sure you can get back in and playing as quickly as possible. None of the fixes that are coming up for small stuff are on the roadmap, you see, so we've got to put those together immediately, and chances are they'll be in and out and shake it all about before the roadmap has a chance to be upgraded. Right then, we're off and running. Have you turned the lights on for the passengers?
Not yet. I'll do that when I get into the station.
And set the destination board?
Not yet, no.
These are the things people care about, man.
We'll get that done. We're going to Elephant and Castle.
If you're going to drive it properly, like what I do. Splendid. Kevin's saying that he quite likes the new East Coast Way bit of preservation and upgraded graphics, and it's going to be a bit subjective as to how upgraded you think the graphics are. I mean, I've said this in a couple of streams, is that I can't put my finger on why the graphics are better, but they just feel better. And I guess that's probably a lighting thing, right, Matt? We've done quite a lot on lighting this time around. That wasn't a rhetorical question.
Sorry, I'm just pressing realize I've just been used to driving a different kind of train and completely forgot how to put the brakes.
You almost wrecked it immediately.
Oh dear. Sorry, what was the question?
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
It was a nice, open, positive, buoyant, cheerful kind of a question. Blah, 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 me wittering on about not being able to put my finger on why it is I think the graphics are better. And then I go into something about, well, Matt, if I recall correctly, you said we did quite a bit of work on the lighting this time round. Is that right, Matt? Is it?
It's not the lighting so much. So what was the clouds? The skies have had an impact on the lighting. Unreal Engine 4.23 upgrade has had an impact on all aspects of the way the game is rendered. So it's like the majority of the game will look and feel the same. But as you say, there are because I think of mostly the Unreal 4.23 changes, there are a number of subjective changes that are in there which are difficult to put your finger on exactly what it is. But the game, if you were to run TSW1 and then run TSW2, it's like it's toned differently. The contrast is better. The whole thing just feels nicer. But it's very difficult to actually say, oh, it's this. Oh, that's definitely better. But several people on the streams I've been watching today have noted that it feels better. Then they can't put their finger on quite why either.
And actually, that's one of the things that we chase after is it's all about how it feels. Everything is about how it feels. And if you're playing using a controller, the new Immersion Control Immersion Control setup. I think that sounds better, to be honest. The Immersion Control setup is designed to remove the things that take you out of that simulation experience. So you can do everything without having a pop-up menu appear on the screen and all of that kind of jazz. So it gives you that sense of being there a little bit better. Obviously, still got some way to go, but that's what we're aiming for, is how it feels. There was a question. I'm going to try and answer a few questions when we get them. How many services can you add to an individual scenario in Scenario Planner? I'm going to take a swing at this, and then you can correct me. The answer is as many as can fit on the route.
That's
right?
Basically, yeah. You're more, in most cases, you're going to run out of room on the route. I think there is a technical limit of 50 that's been put in there, right. But I would be surprised if most people get to that.
Yeah, so it's unlikely you will reach the full limit. But it is, squeeze in as many as you can, basically.
Tell us how many you use. We want to see what people are using, as with all aspects of the tools. So how do you use them, and what do you want to see? Right.
Apparently, some idiot named Colonel Failure will figure out a way of breaking it. We'll find
I've
out
heard all
tomorrow.
sorts of things about him.
I'm doing it tomorrow. I'm going to try and break the Scenario Planner tomorrow.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I'm going to demonstrate the Scenario Planner tomorrow.
I'm going to run
can
that
you
tonight.
build a full timetable? I don't know. Can you? Give it a go. Tell us a lot. Figure it out.
So remember that all trains can only do one journey from one point to another point. They can't do return journeys. So if you want to do a timetable, if you're thinking about a timetable of trains going backwards and forwards all day, no. But you can spread the services out that you do, sort of point A to point B. They can be spread out. There's no time limit to a scenario, but there is that functional limit of a path goes from point A to point B, whatever those points may be.
I saw that Scenario Planner is actually called Scenario Designer in the game. Over the course of it being developed, I've seen it called Scenario Editor. I've seen it called Livery Scenario. I've seen it called this, that, and the other thing. Wouldn't surprise me if there was just a minor piece of inconsistency in there. How can you drive on the TSW 2020 routes? Lots of smiley faces there from FlyPro. Well, they'll just appear in the main list. Now, not every TSW route is available today. They will be available over the next that long, right? Which is not that long in a universal sense, but is not immediate. So today you've got, now I got this the wrong way around earlier on. You've got Peninsula Corridor, East Coastway, and Hauptstrecke Rhein-Ruhr are the ones that are available as of right now. We will be adding more regularly until we've got them all apart from NEC. And we shun NEC. I've posted a couple of times on the forums actually why NEC is not coming along. If you want a slightly longer version of that particular story. But yeah, that's basically it. My East Coastway won't transfer from disc on Xbox. Did we release East Coastway on disc? Hold on, I'll see if Mike's online too. Mike, where is he? There you are. Mike, go and rummage through the catalogue, Mike, and see if we released East Coastway on disc. I didn't think we did. However, in that eventuality, we'll make sure that you can get hold of it. because I can't remember what's released today, let alone what we released 3 years ago, 6 months ago on disc or what have you. I'm not a human catalogue. I'm just some bloke who grumbles into a microphone. Thank you for confirming that TSW2 routes will already appear in TSW2. Happy to oblige. Easy peasy.
Someone's actually asking a good question there about why can't we use immersion controls on preserve collection stuff. So there's a couple of bits to that. One is on service mode you absolutely can. You can choose whatever controls you like in service mode. In tutorials and scenarios, the reason it forces you into the classic controls in preserve mode is because the scenarios have been authored with that classic control setup in mind. So what would happen is that you would be playing it and it would say, now press the B button to do this. Well, if you're in immersion controls, the B button might do something different now than compared to what it did before. Or if it tells you how to do contact dispatcher. All these things might be different. Tutorials much more so than scenarios, but just as much. Which means that you'd end up being very confused and misled. So in order to avoid that, it forces it into classic controls for those things. But in service mode, you can absolutely use the immersion controls.
There you go. All right, I've got a couple more here. So firstly, East Coastway was never released on disc, which makes it sound to me like you may have had the game on disc, and then East Coastway you picked up separate to that. Either way, check the technical report forum and see if there's anything that helps you there. If not, get in touch with customer service and they'll push buttons and pull levers and things will happen. Someone said that none of their preserved routes had transferred over. Now, I don't know what platform you're on, but you must have Train Sim World 2 on the same platform as you had Train Sim World 2020. Your routes will not convert across to another platform. It's tied to your account, and therefore you've got to have it on the same one. Otherwise, you end up with a bit on here and a bit on there. If you want to switch platforms, obviously you're free to do so, because your Train Sim World 2020 stuff isn't going anywhere. It stays exactly where it is now. But if you want it to port forwards, you've got to be on the same platform. And then once you're installed on that platform, manage your DLC options and make sure you've got them selected for download, particularly on PC. It won't necessarily automatically incorporate them. You might need to go get those as well, will you? You do not have to pay for them again. Yeah. Right, someone else said, I've got an important question. This is S-Man XD. I bought TSW2 today, but I want to change the language to German. How do I do that?
What platform?
I don't know, any platform. Give me 3 different ways of changing the language into German.
I don't know how you do it on the consoles. On Steam, right-click on it in the...
ask? Why did you even ask?
I might be telling you useless information otherwise. It's been not normal. If you right-click on the game in the library in Steam and do properties, there is a language tab, and in that list there's a drop-down list of all the languages that are supported in the game.
And the language tab is where, sorry?
You right-click on the game in the Steam library, select properties, a window pops up. From that window, there's a bunch of tabs, one of which is language.
Select it from there. Thank you. Lil Douglas, why is it so expensive for the same game? One, not the same game. Secondly, even if you personally believe it is the same game, why is it so expensive? Answer, it's not. You get the Bakerloo line. You get the ICE 3M and Talent 2 on the Cologne-Aachen high-speed route. You get a remastered version of Sandpatch Grade. You get 2 brand new tools in the Scenario Planner and Livery Designer. You get improved skies, which confer nicer graphics. You get the Immersion Control System, which is a little convoluted way of saying that we've remapped the controller a bit, if you want to use it that way. And you get enhanced adhesion physics. And that's all at the same cost that we'd usually charge for a route. So it's expensive. It is not. It is, in fact, a bargain. But if you don't think it's a bargain, don't buy it. All right, next question. Lots of stuff coming in now. How did we choose the name Sandpatch Grade? Because that's what it's called.
That's what it's called in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Skybox 2. I see people are chucking in other features that I have omitted. There you are. Here we go. Glasgow Train Fan says, do I need to reinstall my routes to get them preserved? Yeah, I'm gonna reverse out of that question and then come at it from a slightly different direction. You can completely uninstall Train Sim World 2020. Yes, sorry, making sure my brain's lined up. You can uninstall Train Sim World 2020 and then pick up your Train Sim World 2, plumb it in on the same platform. You can't change platform, and it will recognise that you own the preserved collection stuff. You will have to download those preserved collection routes again, because as far as your PlayStation or your Xbox or Steam is concerned, they're brand new. They're new things. So if you want to keep TSW 2020 installed with all the routes and stuff, it will install it twice. So it's up to you which way you go with that. But you can uninstall the old stuff and go with nothing but the new. And as long as it's associated with the same account, the same profile, you'll have no problems, apart from any problems that you have, but they are usually resolved by clicking a tick box.
Or go into the forums, where the technical forum is.
Or go to the forums and we'll help you out.
Yeah.
It all works, but sometimes it's just a little bit, what? Hey, hang on, how do I make that happen? And we'll help on that one. Can we do an external camera when we're in the next station?
Sure.
I mean, I know you can only do it to a fairly limited degree while we're underground, but that would be nice to see. Right, when is Isle of Wight coming to Train Sim World 2? Okay, so stuff that is on the roadmap does not have dates put next to it. And the reason is because while stuff is in development, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, sometimes it takes a little bit shorter, then we've got to test it all, and so on. So we're being purposefully vague with regards to the exact moment at which it will launch. But as you see the roadmap in action, you'll get more of a feel for how stuff moves through that process, and then you'll be able to go like, oh, okay, so this could take anywhere from that long to this long based on what I've seen before. So we're not going to give any hints, tips or otherwise as to when you can expect stuff to come off the roadmap, but as you live with it a little bit more over the next couple of months, you'll get a feel for how fast stuff moves. Frail Gaming asks, can I ask if you will ever add a multiplayer system and or way to be a guard? Now, multiplayer is high up on our list of things we want to do. It is not on the roadmap at the moment. Until it enters the roadmap, it ain't happening. It's high up on our list of things we want to do, but until it appears on the roadmap, it's not in active development. So you've always got to balance those things out, because we want to give you a hint at what we want to do in the long term, by which I mean, years or more, or multiple months or more, but at the same time we don't want to lead you down the garden path of going, this is definitely happening, that's definitely happening. So until it appears on the roadmap, assume it's not happening. We've discussed guard mode, haven't we, in some as part of the what would one do in a multiplayer environment.
Yeah, I mean, guard mode is really interesting, but yeah, it all factors into that stuff. It's all we've had discussions internally about lots of things like guard mode and things. Again, they're on the we'd like to do but are not doing at the moment.
I just want to be the fat controller, and then I can die happy. So there you go. It's a non-answer, I'm afraid, but hopefully you understand what we're driving at with that regard. Apparently, we need a sprinter. I think you'll find that the pacer folk out there will they'll throw down if you say that a sprinter is more urgently required than a pacer.
The pacer is definitely required.
Scenario plan's not working properly when you set paths on Xbox. Johnny, you are not going to be able to give me enough information through this chat to figure out what's going on there. Take it to the forum and explain what you mean, and we'll look into it.
I'm using Xbox right now, and we're going to be using the scenario planner shortly. So,
okay, all right. Well, we'll try it out and see if we can break it. Right. Okay. Good. What languages are available in TSW2? Do you know them all, there, senior producer?
English, French,
Should.
Italian, German, Spanish, Polish, Chinese, Russian.
There you go. See, this is his job. This is the kind of stuff he has to care about. Yeah, well done. Please help. My PS4 says that it's crashed. Get in touch with our tech team. Go and have a look on the Dovetail forums. Someone will more than certainly post a link there, and check the tech reports for it. And Ollie over on TSC is going to get slack from me when I'm finished. So TSC is the Train Sim Community Discord, and yesterday I yelled at them because someone pinged me while I was streaming. He's done it now just to ping me while I was streaming. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's going to burn.
The hurt is coming. No, I'm going to take the hurt. Anyway, let's start something important. Will the 2020 locos come to TSW2 like the BR155, the BR182, and so on? Yes. They will arrive as part of Preserved Collection. Now, when a loco turns up as part of Preserved Collection, it will work with most things. It does have improved adhesion physics, but not all the way to our kind of maximum adhesion settings. Matt, you're in correct me when I'm wrong mode, yeah?
Yeah, but essentially, adhesion is part of the core game now. Then you can't have a world without adhesion now. So effectively, in the first pass of getting the locos across, we're updating the trains so that they work as well as they did before, essentially. And then in the future, there's the possibility of them coming back and adding wheel slip protection and stuff. But in the first pass, it's this make them work the same way they did before.
Right. The only other thing I don't do is the hold on, Livery Designer. There you go. That's what it's called. So the Livery Designer doesn't work on preserved locos and vehicles and trains and whatever else you want to call them. I'm trying to use as many different words as possible for that these days. But it will work with Scenario Planner. You can go run them down other routes. There's plenty of good stuff that you can do with it. We've had a request for you to try not to break it with the Westinghouse brake again.
All right, I'll give it another go. I'm terrible with the Westinghouse brakes. I'll explain how they work, at least that way you can figure it out, and then you can do better than I do.
That's an excuse. Is it possible to combine two Talent 2 units using different liveries?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Try it and find out. There you go. That's sensible advice for both the Scenario Planner and Livery Designer. Is we're really keen to see what you come up with. Once we get over, wobbles in software that cause difficulties early on, we want to see how you can do weird and wonderful stuff that we never considered that was possible. Do experiment, see what you can make happen. You might need to think a little bit out of the box there, Scarface, to combine two Talent 2s. But that doesn't mean that it's not possible. It might be possible. Yes. Any chance of BNSF Railway? Well, we've always had a little bit of difficulty getting the license to do BNSF because the licensing is quite complicated for them. Doesn't mean it will never happen. Does mean it doesn't look likely at the moment. How do I download my East Coast Ways Preserve collection without knowing which platform you're on? Check your DLC options to make sure it shows up in the first place. The Tech Report Forum has a lot of advice on this stuff. And I'll tell you, the people who are posting there most frequently have a considerable amount more knowledge than I do. And when you start combining disc, no disc, and then 3 different platforms, and then how did you get hold of the original game, and when did you get East Coastway, and have you pushed this button, and all of that kind of stuff, it is the best place to go to get initial assistance. And if that doesn't help, there's an easy path there to the customer support team who will help you out. It's relatively straightforward. Right, I'm going to catch up because I'm reading chat from like 10 minutes ago now. Right, there we go. Will we add an LNER route? We won't talk about routes that we're adding in the future. That's what the roadmap's for. If you check the roadmap, you can see what's coming up. Yeah, and eventually some stuff will leave and more stuff will be added, and that's how you'll find out. On the forum, again, you can suggest the routes that you'd most like to see, and that really helps us when it comes to decision time. There you go. Right, good. Could you shout a little over the wheel noises? Sorry, my fault, my bad. There you go. Sorry. Yeah, good. Why are there no flags next to the preserved collection routes? Because someone didn't put them in.
At the moment, the flags are only going in on the Train Sim World 2, specifically made for Train Sim World 2 routes.
So that you can tell which ones are preserved.
Yeah, at the moment. Whether we revise that decision in the future or not, I don't know. But at the moment, flags are on Train Sim World 2 routes, yeah. No flag is a preserved route. I
mean, it's a good effort, Matt, but they don't believe you. That sounds like you're just covering for having not put them in. Just, come on. All right, honestly, I mean, you're not fooling me. When's the next big Xbox sale? Don't know, actually. Mike, have you got any information? Oh, hold on. Oh, no, sorry. Mike's got some how to change your language if you're on console. It will change automatically if you change your console language. So if your console's running in German, the game will run in German as well. There you go. Thank you, Mike. Mike, do we have a date for an Xbox sale at the current time? You can say no. I don't mind. That's fine. Console owners quite often ask, what's the deal with sales? Why don't we get as many as they do on Steam? And it's because the console owners don't do as many sales as Steam do. And we have to play by their rules. We can't just go like, sale next week, please. Because otherwise we try and line everything up, you see. But no, that's not how it works. We can only go during set windows. So that's why there's a bit of disparity going on there. Why can't you move the circle in the middle anymore on console? So the cursor, you need to switch back to the previous control method to use the cursor. That's the little circle in the middle of the screen. Yeah. You can't move the cursor in immersion control mode. Most of the time you won't need it, but there are a few occasions when you most definitely do, and the only way to do that is to switch between modes. If you've got a button click left over anywhere, Matt, left stick click, something like that, maybe that could be a toggle between the two modes.
Left stick click does that.
Oh, it's in use, is it?
Yeah. We've milked just about every button we can find on
right
here.
Stick click then.
It puts you outside.
That's no good. No, that's not helpful. What do you got left? Obviously using the triggers, that's too obvious. The bumpers, you're using those as well. Face buttons, that's a given. D-pad, you're all out of buttons, man.
We are all out of buttons. This is the problem.
What about voice control?
Voice control.
Activate cursor, and away you go. That would do. As you can see, there are ways that will improve things, and we'll definitely, continue to iterate on the ideas that have come out with the immersion control system to try and make it better. But right now, if you want to use the cursor, you need to switch back to classic control. Is there any HDR? No, we don't do HDR this time around. Well, no, hold on. There's not even any this time around there. No, there is no HDR. Only Zoom. What else have we got? I missed another one that I wanted to answer there. How come TSW2 costs $44.99 on PS4 and $39.99 on Xbox One? I know the answer to this, Yeah, I will. Yeah. They're set by us to be the same price, but Sony changed their international pricing system, which means we tipped into the next bracket up. That it's a store-based thing. It's a store issue. It is being looked at, but I don't know if there's going to be any resolution. Thanks, Mike. There is no information on future Xbox sales, but as soon as we have information, we will let you know. Because obviously, if we're running a sale of some kind, we want you to go and buy everything twice, just in case you lose one, and then buy it on another platform as well, just in case that first platform doesn't float your boat anymore. Can we get some whistle action, please? Whistle posse, show your DJ love, if you'd be so kind. Screaming at the controller to activate the bell. Love it. Yeah, that's what you want. Use a Kinect. Ooh, or a bit of PS Move. I mean, obviously PS Move is slightly superior because, it actually properly motion tracks. But the Kinect is more like catch the big red ball. And if you know that reference, well done to you. How about hold Y or triangle? What would that? What does that do at the moment? What does Y/triangle do at the moment?
I don't remember which one's Y and which one's
Come on, you should have this memorised.
Hang on.
You're the encyclopedia.
Hang on, controller. Right.
Oh,
And try to drive the hard brake
memory
system.
not working for you there.
Which buttons are you looking for? Oh, Y and triangle.
Triangle or Y in immersion control. What does it do?
So it stands you up. If you press it.
No, that's no good then.
You don't want to press and hold that in case you accidentally get that wrong.
Yeah, no, that one won't help. ERO Stars asks when's it going to be available on Game Pass. It's not available on Game Pass. If you look at when we've been available on Game Pass in the past, it has been some time after the game has come out the way we've been added. We have no information on Game Pass at the moment. If you want it, I'm afraid you're gonna have to go and buy it. Sorry. Okay. Will we get passenger announcements on the Bakerloo line? You're gonna have to get. It's not on the roadmap, and therefore it's not coming. If it enters the roadmap, then it's coming. But at the moment, there aren't passenger announcements. No. How do you get licenses for old companies like British Rail?
So British Rail, it depends which variant. So British Rail, the There and Back Again logo is registered through the Department for Transport. The old sort of BR Green diesel type, the Lion logo, Lion and Wheel logo, that's from the National Railway Museum. If you go to places like the licenses, like 1800s licenses in America, then you find out where the heritage of the license wound up. So, for example, the Pennsylvania Railroad is owned by an offspring of Penn Central called American Premier Underwriters, which is an underwriting insurance company that actually now owns New York, New Haven and Hartford, Penn Central and Pennsylvania Railroad. See, the places you find all these licenses can be obscure, but there's usually a reason for it, because like I said, the American Premier Underwriters was a spin-off of that Penn Central set up, because at the time they were doing really, really well. This is before the 70s when everyone decided they would collapse their railway companies instead.
Well, there you go. That's the depth of knowledge that we have at our disposal here. A full history there that no one asked for. Beautiful.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, thanks, man. You drive, I talk. Okay, that's the rule we set up. No one wanted me driving, no. So you get me talking. Right. Okay. Good. Are we going to? What routes are we going to make in the future? If you want to know what routes we are definitely making in the future, go and check out the roadmap. Yes, indeed. Go to trainsimworld.com. Hit news. It's in the news on trainsimworld.com, and then you'll be able to see the routes that we're already working on, and there you go. Apparently the chat is really empty today. Actually, it's not that many fewer people than we've had lately, but it is a little bit lower, and that's because everybody's off playing the game.
Yeah.
Weird that
strange.
They're off playing the game. Anyone would think they were having a nice time. So they are. And you find people are obviously unable to play the game right now, undecided as to whether you want to play the game or not, don't want to play the game but are waiting for a fight to break out, or are playing the game right now. See, there you go. But happen to have multiple devices available, so you can get our happy smiling faces here up on the internet while you're busy shunting a whole bunch of stuff back and forth on the Sandpatch grade.
YouTube Gamer, you could hold the map button to change the control scheme. Nope, that's used as well. That's what brings up the pop-up schedule window.
Cliffy Biro has gone for insert generic question that requires the roadmap as the answer here. Cliffy, go check out the roadmap. You can find it on trainsimworld.com and then hit the news and you'll find the roadmap. Oh, we go to Germany. Okay.
Well, I'm just going to go through.
What are we showing off here? What is your reason for being?
So it auto loaded that. So what we're doing now is we're going to go into the scenario planner and we're going to make a scenario on the Colnarken route.
Right. Simpman asks, can I not scroll objectives in the game anymore? Matt, that was kind of an open question, sort of aimed at you there.
Sorry, I thought you did the talking and I did the driving.
Throw that back at me. I realise you're doing complicated things with a keyboard that is not in front of you because you're ill prepared. What are we doing? We're making a scenario.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, I don't know. Can't remember. I mean, that was almost 30 seconds ago. Oh, scrolling through objectives while in the game.
You can scroll through them in the pause screen. You've never been able to scroll through them in the pop-up window. You can do it on the mouse. If you've got a mouse on a PC, you can do it, but the controller can't scroll that pop-up window.
So how would you go through the objectives in the pop-up window then?
It always zooms to the one that you're on at the moment, and so you can see the next objective of the previous objective. So it auto-scrolls it, yeah.
One and a bit. Okay, so you can't quite look ahead as much as you might want to?
No, you can't, and that's something that again, this is the part. One of the things we wanted to do was when that window was popped up, we didn't want to take any controls away from you. And as we've just discussed, our controller is fairly
while
full.
The window's up.
Exactly. So as we've just been discussing, the controller is fairly full up at the moment. So if you pop that up, something's got to give. We've got to lose a joystick function to be able to scroll that thing up or down, or lose a D-pad function while that's visible. So, and that's not out of the question. Like you could take zoom off while you to be able to do that. You probably don't need to zoom around while you're doing that. So there's options there, but at the moment that's the reason it's like that. We didn't want to take anything away while that was popped up.
For those of you who aren't getting on when using a controller with the new scheme that we've got, you can switch back to the classic control scheme. If you just don't like the way that the new one handles, switch back to the old one. It's in there too. It's in the options. You can go and flip between the two. But we like where the immersion control system is going, even if it's not 100% just right right now. So twiddle between the two and see which one you like better. Console does not support mouse. No, it does not.
No. So anyway, I'm doing a scenario here. I won't talk too much about it. I'll just try and do it a bit slower so you can see what I'm doing. This is going to have about 8 trains, something like that in it, including the player train. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ICE3 on a different path than normal. I'm going to run it on one of the RE9 paths the Talent normally does. And we're just going to do a stop at Durin instead. And so it'd be quite a different run for the ICE to run on. And then I'm going to throw the Talent onto some S-Bahn trains, essentially. So we've got some Talents on some different lines. And I'm going to show you how you can get multiple trains going in the other direction, essentially, by starting them in different places. So I'll show you a quick technique for figuring that out. And it won't take us long to put this together. Once I've shown you how to do one, I'll quickly rattle through putting the other ones in, and then we'll drive it.
Okay. All right. Good.
So we are going from Colne Platform 8 to Aachen. That says 2. I've got down 3.
Mishi asks whether we can change backgrounds in Train Sim, in Train World Sim 2, as what they've actually asked. But I'll interpret that as being the game that we absolutely represent here. The answer is you can't yet. You will be able to once Mastery turns up, which is on the roadmap, actually. Mastery is in development at the moment. But we have got some new Dovetail Live features that have gone live today. Haven't we, Matt?
We do. The Railfan shot, when you take your screenshots in-game by pressing and holding the X button or pressing and holding the square button, on the PlayStation, they will take a shot and they will hold the screenshot up in the screen so you can look at it. Next time we're in game, I'll do a demo for that for you, and then they'll say, "Is this the screenshot you wanted?" And if you say, "Yep," you press the button. That will then upload that to Dovetail Live. You must be logged into Dovetail Live for that function to work. How do you figure out if you're logged into Dovetail Live, you ask? So one of the problems people had previously was they were trying to play the game and they weren't seeing their data updating necessarily when they were on the... Because Dovetail Live has always had a thing since 2020's release where you can find out how many miles you've driven and what your favourite train was and some of the functionality like that. And the reason was because often players weren't logged into Dovetail Live, so it wasn't sending the data. Or that something had gone wrong. Or the bottom line, you're not connected to Dovetail Live for whatever reason. So we have added the little dovetail icon just up there in the corner there, on the top right corner of the screen. If that is there and green, you are connected and sending data to Dovetail Live for what you're doing. Your stats are being updated, and Railfan shot functionality will work. So you press the button, it pop it up, and it will upload the screenshot for you automatically. The other thing that's gone live on Dovetail Live today is the logbook, which I am super excited about. When you finish a scenario or service or tutorial, you get the debrief screen that pops up and it's got the speed graph on it and where you stopped at and how good your stops were and all that sort of information. That information is now condensed into data packet and uploaded to Dovetail Live, again, as long as you're logged into Dovetail Live. And you can now go on the website and it will give you a list of all of your journeys in the logbook. And you can click on it and you'll get the graph and you'll get the data, so you can actually review all the journeys that you've done, and you can remember that one time 6 weeks ago when you actually did a decent job trying to... I'm just talking from personal experience here, trying to do something, and then you can take a screen grab of it and obviously share it with your friends. I don't think there's any sharing functionality in the website at this point, but the information is now there for you to go and look at, and it's being recorded. It's brilliant. It's really good. Big shout out to the Dovetail Live team. They've been working really hard to get this stuff in and working, and it just went live at sometime this afternoon, so it's there right now.
Right, good. Yeah, and there are some really good features in upcoming from Dovetail Live. They've done a really nice job. You get back to work there, Professor, and I'll address a couple more questions. The first of which is, why did Mastering need to be reworked in the first place? Because it's being upgraded. These new features are part of it, and there's more to come as well. We're also trying to improve and enhance the way that Dovetail Live works so that it's more fun. So that, you can get some nice stuff. I know what they want to put in, and it's some nice stuff. Nice stuff. Yes. I'm not going to say more than that.
It's nice stuff.
So that's number one. That's why Mastery isn't switched on from the get-go, because they're still working on making it lovely. As for the other question that I wanted to answer, which is my Peninsular Corridor, which, I mean, you spelt it wrong there, but I'm not going to hold it against you because that's a fantastic spelling. Why isn't Peninsula Corridor showing up for me? I'm going to hazard a guess that you bought the collector's edition of the game on console on disc. I'll go one further and say it's probably PlayStation. In which case, head over to the PlayStation forum on Dovetail Games and follow the instructions for I bought the collector's edition. And you'll get your Peninsula Corridor show up in no time flat. If you didn't buy it on disc and you did just buy it as a piece of DLC, and you are working on the same platform as you were previously and it hasn't showed up, go to your list of DLC that you own and make sure that you've ticked the box or hoofed the widget or whatever it is you've got to do to then download it, and it will show up straight away. Peninsula Corridor is available right now. Apparently we can do better than this, Matt. Where is the leadership?
What?
They don't like the stream or some such.
Who doesn't?
There you go. Where on the website is the screenshot section? That's a good question. Charles, if you're on standby somewhere, ping me and let me know. In fact, Charles usually watches these, so if you've got information you want to drop with regard to Dovetail Live, because obviously Charles looks after Dovetail Live, see, then you can drop in the knowledge, and there you go. Right, let's have a look. What else we got? My East Coast Way isn't showing up and you purchased it on the store. Saber or Seba, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce your name. Make sure you've ticked it. If you're on PC particularly, make sure you've ticked it in your collection so that it downloads properly. Obviously, you have to be on the same platform as you were before, and then it will show up if it's properly there. Are passenger lights broken? No. Passenger lights work on everything, don't they, Matt? We're not aware of the passenger light.
If you see a problem, let us know.
Yeah, if you find one that you can't activate for some reason, then let us know. Can the UI sounds be turned off?
Yes. In fact, we did that yesterday when we were trying to get the bombs at stations. And there's a UI in the slider. There is one for menu sounds, and that turns all of these sounds that you're getting at the moment off.
Splendid. At what time do you get to see a pink tube train? You're not going to get to see a pink tube train today.
I have other plans.
Matt,
what?
I was inferring strongly there, you see, and you just went and said, "Yeah, no, I painted something else pink instead." And you blew what was a perfectly viable teaser.
Sorry.
Honestly, I'm giving primo material out here, and you're just stepping all over it. Are there no saloon lights in the ICE? Yeah, there are.
You have to use the left-hand MFD, and there's a button in there on the touch screens on the MFD which will let you turn on all the passenger car lights.
There you go. Can we see Sam drive the tube? I'll be allowed to drive the tube once we're out of the launch window. At the moment, we're letting Matthew drive everything because apparently he's better at driving than I am, but that's rubbish. There you go. Yeah. For those of you who are banging on about the leadership there over on Twitch, if you've got concerns and you've got feedback for us, go stick it on the forum. Making big statements in a live stream is not going to get you heard. Instead, head over to the forum and give us a concerted piece of feedback. We read it all and we report it to the right people. If you have specific complaints, we want to hear them. But grandstanding in a live stream is not going to help you. So, post it in a way that we can actually do something with it. That will make all the difference in the world. Thank you kindly. Because you just drag the mood down while everyone's having a reasonably good time. See, and you don't get your point across either. And if you keep banging on, the mods kick you out. You accomplish nothing, my friends. Give us feedback that we can work with.
Definitely.
That's. It's really quite straightforward.
So before we
Spartan, it's not that much drama, honestly. Okay, Matt, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, so I've just finished making the scenario, so I've got a player train going westbound, stopping at Durin, but not on a standard ICE path. It's going to be a slightly wonky path, but I've done that on purpose. We've then got 4 eastbound trains that will pass in the other direction. We've got 1 westbound train we will overtake on the S-Bahn lines, and we've got another ICE coming in the other direction doing effectively the opposite service to us. So there's a fair bit going on. I've just put this together really quickly. I'm fingers crossed it's going to work. So let's go ahead and drive it. If you want to play it back later on, you can see how I did it. Assuming it worked and was worth doing, then there'll be you get some good tips there, hopefully, on just how to get some basic stuff on.
You set this up in like 10 minutes, right? Just in the last
probably,
10 minutes. You didn't save any of it and then come back.
No. This is from scratch.
Is stuff you just set
this
up.
is all from scratch. Yeah.
Okay.
So the one above here that I did here, this is what I did earlier on. So I'm not using any of that. I've set up a completely brand new one because I wanted to show everyone from ground zero how you make this game play with a bunch of AI trains.
Got it. Okay, good. Right, yeah, smashing. So if you weren't paying attention to what Matt was up to there, he's basically put this together in the space of the last kind of 10 minutes or so. So even though it may not be the longest scenario in the history of the world, it should be quite fun to watch if he's done it right. Right?
That's a big if.
No pressure there, Matt. Okay, good. Right, stick the passenger lights on. and call it out when you do so, because a couple of people have been asking how you stick the passenger lights on in the ICE.
So on the left-hand side here, you want this. I'm going to murder this pronunciation. Is Bakerloo. You want that button there, and then you want Bakerloo 1, and the light should now be on.
Gotcha. Apparently, I communicated the launch time in UTC confused a lot of people. Okay, if you don't want to be confused by UTC in the future, go and ask Google what your current time is in UTC. The U in UTC is universal. The reason we use UTC rather than GMT is because an awful lot of British people think that GMT and BST are the same thing. They're not the same thing. GMT and UTC are the same thing. BST is GMT plus 1, so it's also UTC plus 1, which means it's universal time. Look it up. Google is your friend. It will tell you exactly what time it is right now in UTC. There you go.
This journey is going to have LZB, AZB, AFB in it, Dave Hard, so I'll describe what I'm doing as we do it. It's a slightly more complicated journey than normal because it's not an ICE path, so the PZB will be going a bit crazy.
Nice. Have you opaqued the window?
I have not opaqued
it's
the
okay
window.
It's okay if you don't. And let's have a look through it, because every other stream we've done, we've always shown the window being opaque, and there it is, not opaque. I mean, like, I say this like it's magic, but it's a video game. In the real world, it's quite impressive. In a video game, you kind of go like, so you made something transparent suddenly turn a little bit kind of frosty white, frosty blue, beg your pardon. I mean, you know, that's just computers and that. Horn, please. And then get to an exterior camera and horn, please, from the exterior camera, please. Thank you. Will TSW2 have the workshop on Steam? No, it will not. There's no plans to add workshop support. We know you want it, but at the moment we've got no intention of adding workshop support. Now, sometimes people will say they've got no plans to add workshop support. We're saying we've got no intention of doing it. But we've got a lot of problems when it comes to sharing stuff, and then none of them are technical. Again, head over to the forum, talk to me there about it, and I'll go into more depth. But there you go. You still the AI doesn't put the saloon lights on. In fact, the AI, I have noticed, plays a little bit fast and loose with regards to the rules of the rail. You know, they don't do that. They don't honk enough. Honking AI trains. We need a lot more honking AI trains.
I'd love that as well, but that actually turns out to be really difficult because every country and sometimes different trains have slightly different rules for how you do it. It's not just honk here. Like in America, there's a whole thing called Rule 14, where you've got to all sorts of different sequences, and I'd love to get that right. Really would. That'd be amazing.
This is true. I do play fast and loose as well. Unwell Gaming, where can I report any bugs that I find? The official forums are the best place to do it. Forums.dovetailgames.com. In fact, I don't even think that's the right address. Go to dovetailgames.com or trainsimworld.com and find a button labelled forums, or go to Google and type in Train Sim World 2 Forums Dovetail Games, and it'll send you there. Post them there on the right platform or in the Tech Reports forum, and they will be looked at and they will be suitably investigated. Are we going to continue daily streams going forward? We'll probably ease back a little bit, but not for a little while. Although we both get Sunday off, which is nice.
I've got 2 weeks off.
What do you mean you've got 2 weeks off?
I got 2 weeks off.
No.
I didn't agree to this. What are you talking about?
No. No one told me. No, they kept that quiet. I'm going to be shop steward. I'm going to get on with the union. Is there a livery editor for graffiti? Yeah, you see, that would be good. Now, I don't doubt with the livery editor that exists right now, you could probably do some pretty good graffiti in there, in a kind of a classic style, let's say. But there isn't a graffiti designer per se. I mean, but you can come up with some some pretty good stuff. I don't doubt we'll have some incredibly impressive looking liveries before too long. So see what you can make of it, basically. And if you've got requests as far as, you know what, this shape would be really handy, or or a tool like a spray can or something like that. If you want a spray can, say you want a spray can. I just said it. Doesn't mean it's coming. Go and stick it on the forums. I sound like a broken record, but that's because sticking it on the forums is a really good thing to do. There's a train you made.
There's a train we made. Woohoo! And it's the right one as well. Bonus.
Well, that's merciful. Is Train Sim World 3 coming? Train Sim World 2's only just come out. What on earth? Or are you just wearing your big cynical trousers? Are you? Well done. No, almost nobody else has made that reference at all. Brilliant. Oh wow, I'm going to go tell all my friends about that one. That tickled me. Right. Good. Have we got NVIDIA Uninstall support?
It's being talked about, but it's not on the roadmap yet.
It's not on the roadmap yet, but it's being talked about, which means someone at some point said, have you seen NVIDIA Uninstall? And someone else has gone, what's that? And then there was an explanation which finished up with someone saying, oh, we ought to do that. Can you turn the wipers on, please, man?
Turn the wipers on.
I always turn the wipers on. People want to see it. I turn the aircon on. I play with the blind. I open the windows. I give the people what they want. Right. Is there a CIFA button on the PS4 controller?
Yeah, it's the circle key, same as the PCB acknowledge.
And is that immersion only, or is that classic only?
That's always been the case. That's classic as well, yeah.
Okay, that's both.
Safety reset for every safety system everywhere is that same button. So AWS on the UK trains are the audible warning. There are another train center. We're finding all the trains in stations. That's not fun.
Well, quite. What's the CIS? Is that customer information screen? I think that probably is. CIS, PIS, passenger information screen. On Bakerloo line sometimes only shows one or no services. So the passenger information screens on Bakerloo, they're linked to the timetable of services that are currently running. So if there are no more services coming, it will show black. And we've mentioned before that at the moment we run 200 services on Bakerloo line across the course of the day. This is removed. You made that train as well. This is obviously lower than the realistic number, which is around 660. But we are increasing the number of services. It's what Matt's doing when he thinks he's going on holiday. I'm going to lock him in a room to get him to add more services. We're going to take our own number of services up to 450-ish services. This is what keeps Matthew awake at night, because he hasn't quite figured out how to do it yet. Yeah.
It's truer than you'd think.
Yeah. Can we talk about the texture in the cab on the white panel? Yeah, go for it. How do you turn the passenger lights on in that train? You need to go to I can never remember what they're called, the little television screen with the buttons.
The MFD. And you want the number 5 button. Remember rightly, Bakerloo.
Yeah, you can turn the wiper off now, it's not raining.
You said turn it on.
The inference was that, people just
put it in the middle like that. Is that fine for everyone?
Yeah, oh, brilliant. No, you're amazing. Apparently the train is a little bit loud.
Zifa.
There you go. TR9. I tweeted a complaint to Dovetail Games. What did you complain about? It could be that there's a resolution to your complaint already available. Yeah. And Joel's gone for caps. There you go. He's and Joel's been moderated. Oh dear. Can you change the camera to more than one external camera with the new controls? So can Immersion Controller... We've had a few people say that the Immersion Controller, you haven't got quite as much external camera control as you used to.
No, you don't. That's one of the sacrifices. We wanted to get rid of all the pop-up menus as part of the goal for Immersion Controller. And one of the pop-up menus was all of the cameras. So we picked the one that seemed to be most common. And that's the one that you get when you click the right button.
Got it. So, I mean, obviously, if you want to switch back, there's another one of those
A
trains.
moving train. See, they do move.
Crumbs. I mean, I don't know why I'm impressed. I don't know if I'm impressed. So yeah, I mean, obviously you can switch. You can switch back to. No, it works, Matt. Well done. No, it's good. Well done. So yeah, you can switch back to classic control if you want more camera control while you're outside. Switch to classic. I'm sure you'll build up some muscle memory of menu control fairly quickly, but it's not. It's you pick the control system that works better for you, or toggle between the two as it suits you. Obviously, we want to hear your feedback on the new immersion control approach, and if it's good, if it's bad, the bits you like, the bits you don't like, moving towards. And obviously, this isn't on the roadmap yet, but it might be at some point. You never know. Moving towards a point where you can map your own control schemes. Then we can. It's all about figuring out actually what are the individual pieces of logic that you need to be able to control, and then you do some remapping from there. Again, this is Matt screaming on the inside at the moment. It's me writing checks for him that he has no intention or ability to cash. But that's all fine. That's what I'm here for. Just to make your life happier. Oh, show off. Are you logged into Dovetail Live?
Oh yes, I am.
Yeah, get a bit of external camera action. Oh, and let's take a photo.
One photo.
There you go. So what can we do with this?
Can you resize the frame? That's it. It's now uploading it to Dovetail Live in the background. And then you can go onto the Dovetail Live website and you can view that photo. It's simple functionality at the moment, but getting the screenshots
stage
up,
one, isn't it? Is this a version 1?
It's always an iterative process. Getting the screenshots up there is stage 1. And like for example, one of the things that a lot of people on consoles want to do is take part in screenshot competitions that we do on the forums. But it's much harder for them to take part in screenshot competitions.
What are the buttons to do this on each platform, please?
So on the Xbox, you press and hold X. On the PlayStation, you press and hold square. On the PC, you press Control F10.
Have you just broken your microphone?
Can you not hear me?
Oh, I can now. Okay, all right.
How far did you get?
Where can I view it? I can't find where it is. And I don't know. I was very much hoping that Charles was on the horn here and would be able to film me here. Mike, have a poke around, see if you can find out where the screenshots live. Mike.
I've just turned the volume of the game down.
I'm a video monkey. I don't screenshots. Yeah.
That train was proper moving.
Yeah. No, that's all solid. Apparently the game is too loud.
Yeah, I've just halved the volume on the game.
Oh, okay, cool. Under your profile menu, go in and have a look at your profile and see if you've got some screenshots hiding in there. Okay, good.
Yeah, because I'm streaming from Xbox, I can't just drag a window in, unfortunately, like I would normally.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I forgot you were on Xbox. Right, good. Increase the volume for me. No, the only way you can do that is by me getting closer to the microphone. And you really don't want that because I end up going all late night. See? Yeah. Oh, I see. You also halved my volume. That's what they're saying.
Did I?
Yeah. Yeah, you turned me down. I don't need to go all late night. Let's move that back away again. Right. Teaching Matt how to kernel cam. No, it's not a skill that can be taught. You have to feel it.
How about that?
That's something you either know and love, and it's part of your very existence, or it isn't. Right. Scenario plan on East Coastway is buggy between Lewes and Seaford for the branch line, all red signals.
Okay. Pass that back on to the team.
Stick it in the tech reports for him.
Yeah.
We'll look into it. Also, try creating a scenario on that line with nothing else on it, just to make sure that they are genuinely all red. Because it could just be that you've had a glitch in the matrix there, and another service that you've got set up has triggered them all. Right, hold on. Only heard half of that over the awesome train sounds, but the chat is right. Hit profile on trainsimworld.com then railfan shots is what they're called. I'll move my microphone closer to. I'll move into late night mode. We'll do that because apparently I'm still too quiet and the game's too loud. What you should do is you should hit the pause button in the game and turn the game volume down there. You see, that way you don't adjust any other volumes. I mean, if you need pro tips and stuff, Matthew, I'm here for you. Right. There's some funkiness with the saloon lights on East Coast Way. You're going to have to expand on funkiness.
Yeah, we need a bit more than funkiness. And the technical forum. So you can
if
show
this
us a
was the late
screenshot.
70s, early 80s, funky's pretty good. So maybe the East Coast Way lights, there's a disco going on in there or something. Photo mode on Train Sim World. Yes, we did that like 3 minutes ago. You missed it. Watch the stream again and see for yourself. Yeah, it's good. Yes. Also, Kim, you know where I live. You could just ask me directly. You mad person. Okay, right, good. Do we ever get annoyed with each other, or is it all banter?
It's all banter.
I can't speak for Matt because I just make fun of him all the time, but he just sits there and takes it. At some point, I imagine I'm going to wake up and he'll have stapled my head or some such. But no, we're chums.
It's cool.
See? Yeah, it's fine. It's all delivered with love. Right, what do we got next? Sam's installing the game. Good man, Sam. Good person, Sam. One should not assume. Can you create a timetable that is shown on the display? Not at the moment, no. Passenger information screens that are in the game right now are a first swing at it. So after preserved collection is done, the team are going into, because Matt said this on the stream the other day, you see, so now I'm able to repeat it because I sort of pay attention. The team are going into a period where they're going to work on the tools that are used to build routes and services within the game, and one of those is the passenger information screens tool. So yeah, from there on, we should be able to do more and interesting thing with PIS, and that may, don't know yet, I haven't seen a spec, but it may include things like created scenarios being able to display the information that you want to see. Stephen thinks having a disco train would be pretty cool. There you go. Please show the livery designer. We're going to in a minute. When we finish doing this ICE business, we're then going to go and perhaps inevitably go to the other route that we haven't done, or the big button route that we haven't done. Yeah. One of the coaches on the ICE train went black. What, on the inside, outside? Louis, trains. That sounds, I don't know, it sounds like you might have passed to the other side there. If you can give a little bit more information than that, screenshots are really helpful. Oh, look, there's a train. Did you make that one too?
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah, so, yeah, post it on the forums. This is where we can find your information and refer back to it and point developers at it. If it's just a random comment in the middle of a stream, really doesn't help us out all that much. So yeah, go and post it on the forum with as much detail as you can provide, and we'll look into it.
We've got many people looking at the forums too, and trying to figure out what's going on. So yeah, please do post on the forums.
I think at peak today we had like 12 people who were all going like, right, let's grab all these technical bits and pieces. So while we had a couple of different stores doing the fandango earlier on today in terms of trying to keep people as confused as possible, and so we had a lot of people working on getting that sorted, and that's going to be how we're operating for the next couple of weeks probably. So give us your feedback. We need it. We want it. Robbo had a question that he spammed so much that it's no longer visible because he's had a moderator dropped on him. And no one wants that to happen. Could we see more detail in weather patterns like thunder and lightning in the near future? It would look great. It would look great. You're not wrong. And, weather's another item that's on the big list of stuff we want to do.
Yep.
But at some point, you get this far down the list of things you want to do, and you kind of go, right, we've got to draw the line there for now and make this all work, and then we'll get further down the list of things we want to do for the next one. So there you go. How do I get to the forums? Moggy has just posted a link on Twitch. If you're not on Twitch, then that's not very helpful to you now, is it? Although the restream bot has just obliged. Forums.dovetailgames.com will take you to the forums. Thunder would be phenomenal. Thunder is phenomenal. But imagine thunder and lightning.
A bit of thunder and blitzing would be awesome.
Actually illuminate stuff. Ooh, and you drive it, you're rocketing along at high speed, and you've got thunder and lightning going off, and it's lighting up the track, and it's lighting up other trains, and it's not clipping through the back of the cab, and all that bit. You've got moderate reflection going on off screens and off the shiny surfaces there. I reckon we could probably do that for a couple 100 million. I reckon that would be pretty easy. Okay, good. Right, okay, what's next? Oh, hello. Okay, moderation team. It's the fun gang are here again. These scared jokers are back on the channel. Feel free to get rid of them. If you're a regular sensible train fan currently sitting in the chat, these people will not be with us for very long. In fact, you say people, it's one person who has very little respect for themselves or anybody else, and they're just a little bit afraid. So, try and show them some compassion while they are banned from the channel. Thank you. Okie dokie. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, all right. Hang on. I'll have a look over the other side. Flipping heck, look at them all go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You don't need to be afraid, friends. You really don't need to be afraid. The human race has done pretty good up to this point. Okay, we've done pretty well by mingling with each other and stuff, and and that's how it's going to carry on. The more we all get along together, the better off we are. Not blowing each other up, good place to start. There you go. No, they're still going. Yeah. No, you see, they're just going to keep going. All right. In that case, let's just comment on what's going on in the game. Everybody toss a coin to your moderator. They're thoroughly earning of your they're thoroughly. No, it's marvelous. Good. Once things have been cleaned up there in the they're just funny. But once this lot has been cleaned up, then we'll get back to answering your questions. In the meantime, however, how much further have we got to go? Oh, you're almost there to Aachen.
19 kilometres to go.
We're on the last run.
Yep, we're not far to go now. So one of the things you'll have noticed is that because I've picked a non-ICE path, we're being diverted off and back on again. That's going to happen a couple more times. It's a bit of an odd thing, but then again, I only quickly put this together. But it does actually create quite an interesting variation on stuff to do. It's rather, you can't sit back and watch this one, and it gives the PZB side of the route actually a lot more to go to do as well. So there's by exploring some of the different paths in there, put the IC, trying to try putting the IC on S-Bahn services. How would they perform on that? Then you might appreciate why S-Bahn trains have different performance characteristics to an IC train.
Nice. Is it possible to remove the destination marker? I know we've talked about this before. So the destination marker itself, can it be turned off?
You mean the little circle that's floating around the world?
Yeah, floaty circle.
The objective marker is the one you want to get rid of there.
Right. So yes, it is an options job. If you've got a keyboard in front of you, is it possible to do it that way?
Control 1. Control 1 toggles the objective marker.
Yeah. Okay. Good. There's some very strange people in the world. I say people, one person in this case. All right, good. Yeah, good. If I see legitimate questions in the chat, I'll ask them. Meanwhile, if I see morons in the chat, I won't ask them. Will Train Sim World 2 come to Game Pass? In the future it might do, but it's not booked to go into Game Pass at the moment. If you look at games that we've done in the past, typically that turns up later, right? So it won't be for a while. Yeah. How often is the roadmap going to get updated? So the aim is to do it every couple of weeks. Hold on, I can be precise. Every 2 weeks, we'll be putting a fresh roadmap up. Apparently, we're only getting all of this because we're allowing moderators to abuse their power and bully people in the chat. Actually, that's not true. Our moderators show a significant amount of restraint, and we allow people to voice their opinions, to ask questions that are both positive and negative in the chat. What we don't allow is spamming, and also we don't allow Nazis. So that's what the moderators are basically doing. If you spam your question over and over again, not only is it not going to get answered, but you are going to get booted as well, so that people who are paying attention and listening can get the questions that they want. There you go. Where is the multiplayer? Not yet is where the multiplayer is. It is high up our list of things that we want to accomplish, and we'll get to it. But you'll know we're getting to it when it turns up on the roadmap, and it will probably be one of the items that turn up on the roadmap quite a long way before it's delivered. But that's how you know we're working on it. That's what the roadmap is actually for, is so that you have clear insight on what we're actively working on. So keep your eyes open for that, and don't worry, we'll talk about it a lot when the time comes. But yeah, multiplayer is something we very much want to deliver. Is it possible to build? Is this build possible for Steam engines? It leads the way. Let's put it that way. It certainly wasn't. The challenge we've got with Steam engines, we kind of touched on this earlier on, but the challenge we've got with Steam engines is we want them to feel right. We want it to feel like it's almost like you've got the heat in your face, and you are managing this living machine that could explode at any moment if you don't treat it correctly. And the maintaining pressures and heat and water volumes and so forth is all important to keeping this going. So that's what we want you to feel when you're doing it, and that means that there needs to be a considerable amount of work done to get that feel correct. Now, that all sounds nice, of course, but it doesn't answer the question of, so you're doing them or what? And the answer is, they're not on the roadmap yet. They are conspicuous in their absence from Train Sim World, so obviously it is very important for us to do. But we've got to make them look and feel exactly right. Now, the look we can pretty much do, although if a bit of radial blur improvement wouldn't go amiss. But it's all part and parcel. So the update that we've done to Unreal Engine takes us that much closer to being able to execute Steam engines correctly. Matt, anything you want to chuck in on this, actually? Because I'm largely just telling nice stories based on what we've discussed when we've not been on camera.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. I mean, the other key thing is that we need to get particle effects so that they look great, because it's so much more important on Steam engines without destroying every machine under the sun, because particle effects have a habit of doing that if they look superbly good. We need to get the physics. The team, they're having done diesel electric physics, which turn out to be incredibly complicated. Steam physics, they're confident they can handle that. The graphics, the art team, I completely know that they'll nail that. They do on a regular basis. The really challenging thing is, how do you take this living, breathing fire dragon and make it something that anyone can drive it, without sacrificing the authenticity and the realism for those that want to be actually in charge of a living, breathing fire dragon? that's kind of how you balance that out. And we've got a bunch of ideas. We have spent a lot of time thinking about this stuff. It's taking those now and making them into demonstrable prototypes that we can actually prove, because it's all very well creating steam engines. If no one can drive them, that's not good. They need to be accessible to everybody.
Right.
But I also don't want to make them dumbed down either. So this is where we need to find the right configuration options or balance or whatever it is.
Bad Cat Gaming asks, I missed a couple of other good questions there, but Bad Cat Gaming asks, how do you do the Sandpatch grade coal loading tutorial with immersive controls on a touch screen? You don't. You have to switch back and use classic controls in order to use the touch screen. Regrettably. I'm not wrong, am I, Matt? Am I?
No, I've seen people talking about that internally. In fact,
yeah.
I think
we've caught this one previously, but it hasn't got an ideal solution at the moment. We wanted to. I mean, if we'd have left classic controls as the default, you wouldn't have had a problem. But we want to get people used to using immersion controls, which is why we've made it the default that you can then opt out of. Because otherwise, why would you even try it? So trying it was very important for us to do. If you prefer the classic controls, that's fine. But we wanted to make sure as many people as possible actually gave it a go. And that's kind of a big one. That's basically the story there. I'll just drop in a note to the mods. Well done. There you go.
Big shout out to the moderators. They do an amazing job.
Big shout out to the moderators. They only ever get your abuse.
Yeah, literally.
But they missed one.
Right, fire the love.
Right, okay. They only missed one because he's been stealthy. Right, okay, smashing. Will classic controls work with the 1972 stock? Yeah. I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, classic controls will work with everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, classic controls will work with everything. But it swings and roundabouts, right? There will be one control system or the other that you like better than the other, but you might kind of go, I really missed the functionality of that one. So chopping and changing between the two might be something that you get up to, which kind of goes against what we're trying to do with immersion controls.
Yeah, I mean, it's each of them.
You can't win.
Each of them prey on. I've got different strengths and weaknesses. Classic can do an awful lot more, but at the expense of pop-up menus, and it can be 6 button clicks to get something simple like opening the doors done. Whereas if on the immersion controllers, all the common stuff is only 1 button click, but then there's less stuff that you can do with the immersion controls. So it's really, if you're happy with what you get out of immersion controls, then you'll find it a slicker experience. But if you want more functionality and you don't mind lots of button clicks to get everything you want, that is available to you.
From Takeoff to Landing asks, is it okay if I make a logo on the Livery Designer that you have permission to use?
Well, you can't share things, so what you do is your problem. We don't want to know about it.
Okay. Yeah. But what you've touched on there is the exact reason we don't have sharing. Is that we cannot share under the licenses that we have anything that touches on those licenses. And obviously, if it's stuff that we don't have license for, then we can't share that either, because we don't have the copyright holder's permission. And given that we're as a games company, we work with authentic licenses everywhere, if at all possible. It's very important to us that we do actually do this stuff by the book, and therefore invading someone else's copyright is not something that we can do. So that's why sharing is disabled, because I can pretty much guarantee that it won't be long before a chemical company well known for running a railroad in the US would have a reproduction of their livery available being shared, and that would land us in hot water, since we have spoken to said chemical company in the US with a famous orange and black livery that we would very much like to do. So it's a legal constraint is the big problem we got. It's not a technical constraint; it's a legal constraint. Now, what you decide to make in the privacy of your own home, go for it. Just don't tell us about it. We will routinely run livery competitions and so forth, but we will not be able to select winners that in any way use anything copyright. So bear that in mind. It's basically our hands are tied on that front. Yeah. I've got to be the bad news fairy just for a change. Brilliant.
Just for a change, yeah.
Yeah. How does Forza do it then? It's a genuine question. No, it is a genuine question. It's absolutely a genuine question. And that's a company-wide decision. It is a decision that says we're going to let people infringe copyright, knowing that it could get us into hot water. But also, of course, when you're doing a livery in Forza, Forza itself doesn't have liveries that are a defining brand for that company. If you think about a Ford, for example, fairly routine kind of car, but the blue oval, that's their branding. Well, for a train company, the livery down the side of the train, that's the branding. And if we end up with people reproducing the liveries of other train companies, you could see how potentially that could get us into trouble. So it's a slightly different arena, but it's about it's about what's covered and what isn't and so forth. So that's why we do it. You can argue the merits of it. I'd quite happily spend all day long going, we should just get rid of all official licenses. No more licenses for us, thank you very much, and anyone can make whatever they like. I've said that in a meeting once, just casually. Everyone looked at me like I was from Mars. So there you go. And that's because I was wrong to suggest it. Yeah, there you go. Any new American routes in this game? So you got Sandpatch Grade, which isn't 100% new, but it is a remaster of the CSX Heavy Haul. So if you've played on console previously, then yes, that will be new to you. If you haven't played, if you played on PC before, no, it's not new. We do have new routes coming. Head over to the Train Sim World website and check the news for the roadmap, and you'll see the routes that we've got coming up soon. Matthew, we have arrived.
We have.
So you've now run end-to-end on a scenario that you built.
Yep, with
using
AI
the
trains.
scenario planner. Does it wrap up now as soon as you've finished loading the passengers?
Yeah.
And do you get a score?
Yeah. You'll see it in a minute. We'll get a normal DB.
So you get to compete for your own high scores on scenarios you've made?
Find out in a minute. I need to
You've got
double check
APs?
that. Yeah, we've got APs in the top right.
Is it like Trackmania, and does it automatically suggest what the gold, silver and bronze might be?
I don't think so.
No. No, I don't think so either. But what I'm going to suggest is it should be. Yeah, because it should. That'd be great. Can you get gold on your own route? Beautiful. Love it. All right, put that on version 2. Good. All right. I noticed those information boards at this station aren't working. That's right, Robbie. The only information boards that do work are on the Bakerloo line. So they were introduced quite late. While we had the extension to the development window so that we could get preserved collection working with the scenario planner, we built passenger information screens for Bakerloo only. Now, if you weren't here earlier on, what the development team, after they're done with getting all of those preserved collection odds and ends finished off, I say odds and ends, highly brilliant add-ons from Train Sim World, converted over to Train Sim World 2, then they're going to go into a period, what is it, a Quicksilver period, that's what you call it?
We have an internal project called Project Quicksilver, which is
Project
basically refers to working on our tool set so that we can do bigger, better, more, faster.
Bigger, better, more, faster. And an example of that is going to be passenger information screens. So the team will go and build improved tools to handle passenger information screens, which might improve the way they perform. It will certainly mean that they are then portable, so can be used on other routes. We don't know if we're going to be looking backwards at putting them on routes or looking forwards putting them on routes. We'll almost definitely put them on routes moving forwards. If they're a doddle to use, kind of works. But yeah, so that's what the dev team are going to do. Oh no. You're incredibly predictable, Matthew.
I know, I'm incredibly predictable.
Look at what you've done to that poor train. I mean, pink's a perfectly acceptable colour, but there is a time and a place.
There are companies that make lovely pink trains in reality.
All right, here we are. We're in the Livery Designer, and I imagine this is going to be one of the single worst liveries anybody's ever created. I've got nothing against pink. I own several articles of clothing that are pink, but honestly, man. Yeah, okay, adding a white line to it, yeah, all right, that's somewhat sharp, I suppose. Oh, dear. Anyway, Robbo asks, will we be seeing the next installment on PS5? We don't have any PS5 or Xbox Series X1 Box X, Series X1 Box X1 Series Box. Or
that's
whatever,
just the internal code name of it, though. Yeah.
Whatever combination of letters and words they've decided to go with that I can't remember. Seriously, people, you need platform, number of platform. That's it. That's all you need, right? It's not a Series F, X19, X16, X1, 1X. That said, we have just come up with a series of codes for all of our routes.
Yes.
What was I talking about? No, we haven't got any next-gen console plans at the moment. We will make sure that when the consoles come out that that there is compatibility using the backward compatibility. Why the P? It's not for Pedalston, is it?
No.
No? Oh, okay. All right, carry on then. If you write Pat on the side there...
It's just a sense of just utter dread. You're like, why is there a P on there now?
I don't know where you're going with it. I just...
Pink rail.
All right, no, it's all right. No, it's all good.
So someone on the I saw I can't remember where it was now, asked me about grouping and copying. So if I want to put PR on the other side of the train, how would I do that without the laboriously boring way of doing it? I could just do what I just did. If you use the D-pad right and left, you choose between these different options on the layers panel there. The circle allows you to select the layer, and if I go up and select another layer, I've now got both of those two layers selected. If I press group,
right,
they now turn into a single layer. If I now edit that layer...
Whoa. Are they a single layer? Do they still count as two layers?
Sorry, yes.
Your layer limit?
They are still... You'll see the used layers is still 4. So yes, it is a group which contains multiple layers.
Thank you.
So what I can do now is I can now change these and move them, scale them, rotate them, whatever I want to, as if they were a single entity.
They're not correctly aligned.
They'll do for what I want to do. And now if you press the X button and go on the other side, that's that now copied. No, it isn't. I've just moved it. That's fine. What I need to do is copy it. So if I press copy, now we've got a copy. And what we need to do is edit and put it on the original side. There you go. Now we've got it on both sides. Now what I'll do is I'll fire it up and I'll scroll the loco around in a minute just so I can prove that they're there. So that's how you can take whatever you've done on one side, group it together, copy it, and then just flip it to the other side. And then you can do that. Similarly, if you wanted to put like the PR on the front, again, same process. Copy it, edit it, change the side with the X key, and then we can just scroll that down and find somewhere sensible to put it, maybe up there.
Nice.
Right. So that's how you do that. And the similar process. If we had an ICE train or the 72 stock or anything with multiple units in a vehicle, having grouped it like that, there is also then an option to copy to other vehicles. So you can then take that what you've done and just duplicate that down to other vehicles. So anyway, that is possibly the greatest livery that ever needed to be created for a train sim. No one else needs to bother anymore, so sorry about that. However, another thing I've seen questions on the forum is the railings. You'll notice the railings have got white sprinkled all over them now. I'll show you how to cure that. I'm not going to do it fully because it's more time consuming, but I'll just show you one example. If I just add a layer on here and as a square. The square is so useful. It's just universally useful for everything. And I will fix that star in a minute. We'll go on to the side because it's easier to see. And what we need to do is make that the same colour. Now, at the moment, you can't type in the colour code. I press change colour. I've got to find the right colour again, which is a laborious pain in the neck. And is something the team are working on. So, as you can see, that's about right. It's close enough what I want to get to. If I now move that around, you'll see it's changing to the slashes, so you can see where it is. But if I move it around, you can see it's clearing the railings, but it's also clearing the back. And
yeah, we don't want that.
What you want is just the railings. So what you do is use the projection settings to pull it off of the back, so that effectively you're pulling the texture back in, because it's rendering across a depth. So
that's what that does. I fiddled with this the other day. I had no idea what that did. So okay, that's useful.
What that's now done is I've now just got the railing and I haven't got anything else. And now what I can do is if I change it to the other thing, I can now stretch it out, and you can see that I've now got multiple railings now cleaned.
Gotcha. Nope, that's good.
So that's, and you just repeat that process around, and you might need to get different projection settings and different messing about just to fine tune it to get what you need. But that's how you do the railings. You can't paint the something onto the back, like a white stripe. You can't put that on without affecting the railings, but you can then repair the railings, essentially.
So you can't do negative projection?
Yeah, you can't. You can't change the start projection point. You can only change the end projection point.
Okay. All right, thank you. There were a couple of questions there which were pretty relevant. So someone said mirroring would be good. Mirroring's coming. It's one of the improvements that's being added. If you look on the roadmap, I know we're going there again. You'll see that Livery Editor enhancers, Livery Designer enhancements are coming. One of which is the hex code that Matt just talked about, so you can actually correctly put the exact same color in each side. And another feature that's coming in is mirroring. There are going to be some new options for transparency coming in as well. Whether that's all the tools that are added in the next kind of update to it, couldn't tell you, because that work is still ongoing, but those are definitely included so far. Velociforce Gaming, is GWN not coming as Preserve Collection? It is coming, it's just not in the first wave. The first wave is out today, and that is Peninsula Corridor. It is the other one, East Coast Way. Southeast Coast Way. Is it Southeast Coast Way? It's just East Coast Way.
East Coast Way. Yeah.
And Hauptstrecke Rhein-Ruhr are the three coming today. I can't help myself. Are the three extra preserved routes that are available from today. Great Western will be along pretty quickly. But obviously, quickly depends on your definition of quickly. All right, let's make it a little bit more, expectation setting. A little bit soonish. Not for a little while. Presently, but not immediately. There you are. Right. Good.
Okay, so I've made a GP38 in glorious
you've made
colours.
a mess.
I've made a box cart in glorious colours.
Yeah.
So if we now go into service mode, and go into timetable here, go into GP38, press the livery change button, which is X on this controller. Yep. Matt's craziness has appeared. And
so it doesn't do a thumbnail for it.
Doesn't do a thumbnail. That's another thing on our long-term wish list, is to get it auto, or let the player take their own thumbnail or auto-generate one. But you click it and you can prove it because your livery comes up in this preview window. So we press the go button and we just pick a service. And what I wanted to do, the reason I did the wagon as well, freight car as well, is just to show you freight cars, and because they appear randomly sprinkled. So if I had 3 different freight cars,
you're randomly sprinkled.
You'd have 4 different randomly sprinkled versions. The original one, look at that, isn't it? Just you just want to stare at that view all the way, don't you? It's just perfect. No. You do. Oh,
no. No, you want to burn it with fire.
So then this is Boxcar. This is Boxcar 2.0.
Is that? I'm answering some questions, man. Hold on. Is there going to be a core update to TS Classic? We'll start talking about TS Classic in the next couple of weeks, because we have got stuff coming up for it, and I know we've been a little bit Train Sim World focused of late. So we'll talk about that more in the next couple of weeks. But there's still work going on it, and therefore stuff to talk about. You're getting quite a few emotes going on in the chat there, Matt. I hope that's what you were aiming for.
Oh, it's definitely.
No, there it is.
Anyone who knows why pink is my favourite colour knows I specifically like it to wind people up. Because if you can be wound up by a colour, that's your problem.
I see. Okay, good. Oh, apparently we're streaming as Train Sim World, and there is a new category called Train Sim World 2.
Yes.
You know what? We wouldn't want people to get mistaken now, would we? Would we now? Would we not?
We would not.
No, we would not. Well, come on in, grip it and rip it. Let's be having you.
It's and then we can, I'm waiting, my brakes are coming off slowly.
Can you turn the car liveries on and off? Yeah, just don't select them in the first place, right?
No, if they're there, then they will be picked potentially. We don't have one of the things that's actually come up once we got this all working in the game. One of the questions that was then raised by the team was, but what if I don't want that livery right now?
Yeah,
and we don't have a way of doing that. So that's one of the
put it on the list.
One of the things that we want to do. We want to deal with.
So if you have liveries that you have designed for something, they will variously turn up unless you delete it.
Yes.
At the moment, so we'll get some feedback on that, won't we? Won't we get some feedback on that one? Won't the feedback be, I don't want that? Okay, all right, it's all right, it's okay. We know, we'll get to it. Oh dear. Is this a regular scheduled stream? Yes, it is. You can find out when our stream is each week if you follow us on Facebook or the Twitter or the Instagram. It's also posted, perhaps unsurprisingly, on the forums. So you can find out what we're streaming and when every week. We always kick off at 1900 UTC, which for those who are unfamiliar with UTC is available to look up on Google. We have forums. Yeah, apparently we do. Yeah, it's a new thing. Yeah, good. Yeah. Thank you for your support there, Tank. That's much appreciated. But actually, we like our haters. As long as they're, as long as they're prepared to spell out what it is they don't like, people who criticise the game are incredibly valuable to us. People who actively enjoy the game and just say it would be great if you could just have this are brilliant. Love those guys. Love you guys. But we need both positive and negative. If you all just said, "Oh, you're doing great," then we'd have to think up all of the things we could do to make it any better. So people saying like, you know what, go and tweak, would you? So there you go. Yeah. Can any one of the mods tell me if there will be a patch? Yeah, there'll be a patch. Yeah. I think a patch is possibly, a little bit disingenuous. I think there'll probably be many patches. If you didn't catch it in the last stream, we've now got a part of the development team whose focus is on looking at the stuff that we've already released. So rather than working on just new things and bringing those in, they can look at core systems in the game. They can look at routes and locos that we've already released to help make them better. So we should be we should not be in a situation that we've had a couple of times in the past where problems that people have reported haven't been dealt with particularly quickly. So hopefully we can avoid that happening. Horn, please. Honk it like you mean it. Good. So if I said get rid of temp dumps in TS, does that make me valuable for criticising? I don't know what that means. So no, it doesn't. You're going to have to spell it out a little bit more and stick it on the forum. It's no good sticking it in a bit of chat in here, because this is a transitory piece of televisual entertainment that potentially informs a little bit, potentially educates a little bit, potentially entertains a little bit. If you want to contribute feedback, write it long form, take a couple of deep cleansing breaths before you get underway, and then spell it out.
And for something like for temp dumps as well, there's lots and lots of things that can cause a temp dump, so be prepared to provide lots of information.
What's a temp dump?
It's when the game crashes. When the game crashes, which can be caused by all sorts of things, so they create a temp dump file.
I see, a temporary dump file.
A temporary dump file, yeah, it's caused by the game crashing. So, yeah, if you want, there's a keenness to resolve crashes. No one likes the game crashing. That's just terrible. But there are tons and tons and tons of potential ways, because Train Sim Classic has got editable files. Anything can be changed by anyone, and so if you have content that's crashing, then we need to know what it is, what's causing it, so we can help.
Gotcha. Kieran asks, I don't know if this has been asked or answered. It has, but I don't mind doing it again. The deluxe version on Xbox comes with East Coastway. Is that any different to Train Sim World 2020? It is not. It is exactly the same. Well, yeah, it's upgraded. It was not upgraded. It's preserved. It's the preserved version of East Coastway from Train Sim World 2020. If you already own it for TSW 2020, you do not need to buy the deluxe edition. You will get East Coastway for nothing. So please don't buy the deluxe if you've already got it. There you go. Can you delete temp dumps? I don't.
Yes.
It's a piece of terminology I didn't need in my life. Yeah, all right, yeah, go delete them. Nuke them.
If you don't want them and you don't want to report them, just
delete them. Dom, put in a ticket. You can't do anything about the outer memory errors. Yeah, if you can do this repeatedly, so if every time you start playing you get an outer memory error at some point, that is a repeatable incident, which is invaluable to help our team actually figure out, how to solve it. So yes, that's really, really useful information. Tordek, yeah, if you only just tuned in, congratulations. Yeah, you really did. Oof. William asks, any plans on being able to paint preserved collection soon? Well, actually, it's a lot of work to make a preserved loco or vehicle paintable, because we have to create a whole fresh vehicle for you to paint. So there are basically two instances of the vehicle. Or are there two instances of the vehicle? Or
so we don't create an entirely new vehicle. It's got the same 3D model, it's got the same physics and so forth and animations, but we have to take all of the textures and scrap the textures and redo them from scratch.
So it's not an insignificant amount of work.
And ask most 3D artists and they'll tell you just how much of their favourite bit of the entire job the UV mapping process is, and that's entirely the job here.
Gotcha. So yeah, so it's because it's a large amount of work is the reason that it hasn't been included. Could it be included in the future? If it's on the roadmap,
it will
happen. And that's the best we could say on that front. Because everybody wants to paint an HST.
In pink, obviously.
No, not in pink. No. Is there a free roam feature in this?
Sandpatch Grade has a scenario called Cumberland Switchback, where you can do anything you like within the yard. There's no instructions, no objectives, just a bunch of trains, a bunch of freight cars, and a free yard that you can do what you like in. You can't leave the yard, however, because the minute you need to leave the yard, you need then the dispatcher to enable it.
Yeah, you can. You know how you do it? Scenario Planner.
Scenario Planner is then how you can do.
Just fling yourself on there, park up a bunch of trains if you feel like it, here, there, and everywhere, and just toddle off, or spawn on foot and go for a walk. There's a couple of ways of doing it. With the Scenario Planner, you can probably you'll figure out all kinds of things that you can do with yourselves to keep yourselves amused. Yeah, there you go. Can they take off? I bet I can make them take off. That's a thing that I reckon is probably doable. Where is Off the Rails? Off the Rails is an option within the Scenario Planner. So if you go to, it will come to me. I'll remember what it's called. Scenario settings.
Set details.
Set details. If you go to set details, that's where you enable off the rails. In the scenario planner, is anybody able to get onto the logbook? Presumably the logbook lives with your pictures. So if you take screenshots, they live under your profile on excuse me. Oh, crikey. They live under your profile button on trainsimworld.com, which is where, if you look for railfan shots, that's where your images live. If you go for your logbook, one would imagine it lives there as well. I can't think where else we'd put it.
It is right next to railfan shots, the option.
There you go. You could have just said that. You could have cut me off rather than me just speculating.
You sounded like you were having fun. I didn't want to
Oh, I
interrupt.
see. Trainboy's saying there's a 500 server error. That means the server's broken at the moment.
That means that's probably why Charles isn't responding.
Charles is hoping nobody notices. But we know, don't we? Yeah.
Try pressing refresh, Trainboy. When I looked at it earlier on, I got a 500 server error once, and then when I refreshed it, it was fine.
It's because a few people are visiting that
There's
page.
a couple of people on the site.
Just one or two. Just one or two people who are looking at it at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, one other thing on the livery editor. If you're putting something on the side, put it on the side. We've seen some people putting stuff on the front and then trying to stretch it round the side and finding it doesn't work very well. And it's because it's projecting it from the side. If you imagine that there's a projector projecting the image onto it for it to capture it onto the thing, what you want to do is project it straight onto the side. So you've got cameras that project front, back, right, left and top. So find the one which is the most directly on the side you want the image or the shape to go on, and you'll get a much cleaner and much easier to use version.
F Block Layman asks, can we put an option somewhere to allow us to go through red signals and not get booted out? Please. Please. Please, 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 please. Yeah. You know what would be nice? You know what would be nice? Is if you went past a red signal, it would go, you have now failed this scenario / timetable / whatever. Would you like to just continue anyway for the logs? Because if you are, 50 minutes into a 1 hour journey, you might want to just go like, oh nuts, I've gone through a red, but I do want to see this to the end.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Think of the people, Matthew.
We didn't make that decision because we didn't think of the people.
You didn't make that decision. I'm making a point because I think that decision by who made it might be watching. Think of the people playing it. They just want to get where they're going. Let them.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand it. It's not a design decision. It's a technical decision or technical limitation. That once you have passed the red signal, the dispatcher now doesn't know how to cope. So how does it deal with that? Now, maybe we have to reboot the signalling, essentially, and start a fresh path or something. But if all the AI trains that are on there, if it's a scenario, then what happens to all the scripting? Those are the kinds of things on it. It is very much a technical limitation rather than just something we arbitrarily said. In the real world, and the signalling system is designed to work a lot like the real world, once you pass a red light, many people then have to get involved in getting the network back up and running in that area again in a safe way. And it's that's where the system falls off a cliff, because once you run a red light, we've got no handling for that because it's complicated.
Quite so. NJ Transit speaks my language. He wants to be able to put John Voight on top of the engine in the editor. I think we should also license Denzel Washington to stand on top of the car, and an animated Tom Cruise running endlessly over the top of the trains. All Tom Cruise does, is run over the tops of cars down trains. As long as we can have Walter Matthau as your dispatcher at the other end somewhere, that would all work for me, because NJ Transit and we speak the same language. Good. Right. Yes. Two trains travel together to Toyland. Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. With Daniel Craig chasing Tom Cruise. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. That's what you need. Yeah. Deary me. Right, are we nearly there yet? Because I think we're about done for today.
To be honest, this journey goes on for a couple of hours, so we just finish when we're ready to finish.
You can go for a couple of hours if you want. I've had enough.
I've got to go to something to eat. I haven't had dinner yet.
I've got to go and see how badly on fire all the forums are, and then put those fires out using nothing but the English language charm and the lock thread button.
No, the topics we wanted to cover tonight was to show off the 3 routes, show the livery editor and how you use it, show the scenario planner and run the scenario that we made. I think we've done all of that, so that hopefully has given everybody a kickstarter on across the major features in Train Sim World 2. If you've got questions or problems, you know where to go, the forums.
Yeah. Send us your feedback. We want to hear it.
Totally do.
And once we've heard it, we'll be able to do something with it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we'll be back tomorrow, where for some reason I said I'd make a route in the scenario planner. I don't know why I'd say such a thing, but apparently that's a thing that's happening. And then on Saturday, you're going to fly solo because I'm not doing it. And you're going to teach people how safety systems on German trains work without any interruption from me.
Yeah, so I'm putting together a tutorial on German signalling system, on PZB, specifically from the Kolnaken perspective. And I'll try and go through some stuff and try and make it a bit easier and demystify it a bit for you.
Smashing. Well, if you are getting to play the game today, hope you enjoy it. And when you feel like you've played enough that you can make a judgment call on it, give us a review. We're keen to see your reviews as soon as you've got them. But, wait until you figure you go, all right, I know what I reckon about this. Type, and, and let us know. Anyway, we'll catch you next time, which is tomorrow. I've got nothing else. I'm done.
Ran out of steam.
I've got no words left.
All right, folks. Sam tomorrow, myself on Saturday. Enjoy Train Sim World 2. See you later, everybody.
Cheerio!